I'm assuming that by the time you're watching this is November 25th, 2024. Which means it's been 10 years since I was called to the bar as a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Interesting. And you're wondering, why is she doing a video and trying to be self-absorbing? It's because on that day, it was a bittersweet experience for me. And I remember that I only had one picture that was taken with my Technophone, which was later seized on the call to bar ceremony day. So I don't have any official pictures of myself. And I made sure that I kept the picture on Instagram so I don't misplace it, because I'm really terrible with pictures and videos and keeping those memories. And I said, all right, let me use that style to tell you what I've been up to for the last 10 years. And I just took some really cool pictures, and this is the time to just be like, yeah, look at me now. Look at me now. So yeah, that's why we're here today. I think I came from that generation where it's like you talk a lot, lawyer, you like blood, doctor, something like that, right? And I come from a very rich legacy of lawyers. I think in my family, there are about, say, 50 lawyers. So it's lawyers, justices, judges. It's a family that is either you go study law or you're in the military or you serve on the executive arm of things. My dad was a military man. His brother was a lawyer, a renowned lawyer. His other brothers were justices in Ondo State, fiery lawyers across the UK, everywhere. So it's kind of like a family thing. So when I started talking too much, it was just like, oh, you're going to do law. It wasn't something like, oh, maybe I wanted to be a footballer and they said, no, go and study law. It was just like, this is what I've always known. Shout out to Babcock University, the best law faculty ever. When I got in Babcock University, I wasn't admitted for law. I was admitted for international law and diplomacy. Interestingly, we're two Fawehinmis. Tosin Fawehinmi, my cousin, who, that's another thing about my family is like, you meet somebody, you're just like, oh, you're following me. Oh shit, who's your dad? Then you trace, right? So I think there was a mix up with our names. She wanted to do ILD and I think they gave me ILD either ways. But my result was like, I think I was in top 5 for overall score. So I went to the dean's office, God rest his soul, late Professor Olomojobi. And I was just like, yo, dude, why am I saying international law? I applied for law and this is my score. And it's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 14. And it's like, yeah, you can't handle the pressures of being a law student. I'm like, what? How dare you say that? I didn't say that to him, but I said it in my mind. And he was like, okay, you know what? If you want to study law, you're going to have to do your first year as an international law student. If you are on the first class, we're going to transfer you in 200 level to law. And if you maintain that first class, you're going to be able to continue. So I had 2 years of compulsorily I have to be in first class. So, another backstory, I think I wrote this in my memoir. So if you've picked up my memoir, So Far So Foza, I talked about how the death of my dad changed a lot of things and there was a lot of anger. So needless to say, 100 level, 200 level, 300 level, your girl was on the first class, just flying, 400 level. Was on a bit of a second class, just a 2 points shy. By the time I got to 500 level, I was very sure that I didn't want to be controlled, in terms of, oh yeah, you made a first class, go and do oil and gas. We're going to put you here, we're going to put you there. I knew that that's not what I wanted. I was going to chat like a very completely new territory. So I was like, all right, we're just going to be a shy point of a first class. Because I really didn't want that pressure. Once you get a first class, they're applying for scholarships. They're trying to enter Harvard. They're trying to get a first class in law school. I was just like, dude, man, I kind of know what I want to do. It's already a lot of pressure trying to do something new that nobody believed in. So I was just like, yeah, I don't need that extra pressure. Do I regret it? No. I mean, did I lose some scholarship opportunities? Yeah. But was that the part I wanted to go to? No, not really. So that's how I kind of ended up in law. Then I got to law school. Before then, I started working in the music industry as a manager. So for me, it was just like, yeah, I'm chill. I'm a chill big girl, you know. So I started law school. I'm one of those students that I have to listen. If I don't listen to what the lecturer says, I'm gonna have problems reading. So I always attend classes. Like I don't miss my classes. The only thing I didn't do was do all their extra lessons because I was just like, why is a student like myself teaching me, right? Like I'm not a dumb person, right? I'm just gonna apply myself and work. Very focused, had an amazing set of a little gang of boys that I used to roll with. Tola, Marvin, Philip. So I was pretty confident that the exams were gonna be good, right? So we started writing the exams. Pretty breeze for me, like. One of the things I struggled with the most in law school was I come from Babcock where I'll tell a professor and say, I don't think what you're saying is right. Right? I don't understand what you're saying. Why are you saying it like this? Why can't it be like this? So there was a lot of critical thinking that we used to do. And you challenge your lecturers will tell you to go and read back, you come back, you make a summary. I remember we're doing these arguments in school and the guy that was always the top of the class, he was making this argument and the man was looking at him like, Paul, your learning has made you mad. But it was quite interesting because everybody that went into I think it was conflict of laws class, and everybody just went into spirals of argument. So that's the environment I came from, where it's like you're forced to make different sides of argument. Then I got to law school and I was told that I have to cram and pour back. So I struggled. I didn't think it was that bad because I was just like, yeah, it can't be that. Come on. I'm watching Suits, I'm watching that, you're arguing, you're finessing everything. I'm just like, why are you telling me to do everything straight jacket? It made no sense. So I struggled a bit, but I didn't understand the level of how that struggle was going to affect me in exams. So I'm one of those people that 20 minutes before the exam is done, I'm done. Right? And I've collected extra shit, by the way, because I'm analyzing the thoughts and everything. Unfortunately, that's not how law school works. So when anybody's like, they're screaming, they're fainting, I'm like, I'm confused. There was a guy in my law school said that I think he was smoking Igbo. We're all reading, jumped from the 3-story building. I was sick that day, so I was in the sick bay. And whatever he took was still in his system, so they were trying to hold him down. His brother came and like, my brother would never do this, he's a pastor. My sick self, I was like, okay, bro. Because there's this if you went to Lagos Law School, there's the rooftop where, guys go there. They pretend to be reading, but it's stuff happening. There's the Igbo going on. There's the whatever drugs. So people were under a lot of pressure and using all types of substances to survive. My escape was I would camouflage every Friday night, go to Sean's bar and buy a bottle of Coke because I was broke, by the way. So I'll buy a bottle of Coke, sip that bottle of Coke for 4 hours, order 6, 7 songs and perform on the stage. That was my release, that was my escape. I come from back where we were 2, 3 in a room. Next thing, I was sitting in one room, sharing one toilet. What's that? You are carrying a bucket of water from downstairs to what's going on? I did not do that all through. I mean, I did that in secondary school, but in university, it's what's going on? It was such an interesting adjustment, right? So you're relating with people from Kano State, you're relating with people from Zamfara State, and it's just the cultural, and I don't think this is talked about enough. You're thrown in the midst of, there's no cultural orientation. They don't give you that, they don't alert you that, look, you're going to interact with different people with different mindsets. It's a culture shock. It's a huge culture shock, by the way. So needless to say, I didn't really enjoy law school. I can't even remember half the thing they taught me because I was cramming and I was pouring. I wasn't applying myself. It was just cram, pour, cram, pour. I still wrote the exam. I thought I was a G, right? Then results came in, I was like, yeah, whatever. I've never failed in my life. The lowest failure I've had is a B, and that B was bordering on 65. So I didn't understand the concept of failure. It was very foreign to me. 5 a.m., I was in Chi's house, and she's like, oh, Professor has checked her results. Check your results. I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm good. My mother had called me. I was like, yeah, whatever. So I checked the result and I saw the score. I put back the phone. I went back to sleep because I was like, maybe I'm still sleeping. My friend called me and was like, man, Foza, just be calm. I'm like, why are you telling me be calm? Then he hung up. Then I went back again and I checked. So I now messaged him and I said, it's passed higher than a 2-2 or a 2-1. Then he now called me and said, please don't kill yourself. I'm like, what do you mean don't kill yourself? Like, I'm not going to kill myself. But it's just like, I'm confused these results that I'm seeing. This is not my result. I don't understand what this is. Because so the hierarchy is first class, second class upper, second class lower, pass, conditional pass, then fail. I'm confused as to how I'm seeing pass. Because this is not, I don't understand the concept of, I've never failed. Then I called my other friends that like, and they're like, yo man, 2-2. I said, you don't, you. I said, even if, I know I'm still an unserious person to an extent, but you, like man, 2-2. Even the top guy, like extremely brilliant, smart guy is like, man, it's 2-1. He good. I said, what's going on? So apparently, it turned out that my set was a victim of a catastrophic situation. They call it the legendary 2014 set that failed miserably. So out of, I think 7,000, almost 70% failed. I didn't know what it was then, but I think now that I'm grown, it was just like, that was the smell of failure. So I was so angry. I was like, yeah, I'm not taking any pictures. I don't want to remember this day, but my mom was just like, oh yeah, my daughter is called about. She's like, yeah, mommy, wait, whatever, like, don't let us. I don't want to take any pictures. Don't worry, it's fine. My mom tried to force. My sister was there. I was like, yeah, whatever. So for me, I just wanted to forget that day, right? And in the middle of the call to bar situation, right? Just before I came out, I was like, okay, I need to take one picture just to remember the day. So I took a picture where I was like, yeah, that's it. So I wrote on Instagram, yeah, whatever, I'm called to the bar, And someone was texting me and saying, oh, yo, can you draft a contract? Blah, blah, I'm going to give you $250K. I was like, hell yeah. As I was responding to the person, one lecturer just came, phone seized. Then I'm like, okay, bro, what's the punishment? Let me know the punishment. And he's like, you have to beg. I said, after this 1 year of hell, and now collecting wig and gown, you want the first thing I do to beg as a lawyer? I say, you keep the phone. I left the phone with him because I was like, I'm not going to beg. I'm like, that's a bad sign. I just got called and the first thing I'm doing with my wig and gown is begging you. Now, keep the phone. I messed up. It's fine. Keep the phone. It's okay. I hope he's enjoying the phone today. Because we're already sad and miserable. You now wanted to just make us more sad and miserable. I mean, come on. So that's how call to bar went, and I just completely forgot that day. That was the last time I wore the wig and gown. I mean, during my externship, the magistrate saw me. I was like, I don't think you'll be a successful lawyer. I said, Kilagwe, Jusa. Like, what did we carry? What are you dropping? She said, because every time she has observed me that I'm always just looking aloof. But she asked me all the questions that day and I answered. So I'm just like, why would you say that? You're just proclaiming rubbish to me. Why? My call to bar was the last time I wore my wig and gown because I knew I was going to be a solicitor. I wasn't one of those people that thought that I was going to be a jack of all trades. I knew where I was going to and I knew what I wanted to. So that was the journey from university to call to bar. It so happened that I finished from law school, started getting briefs. And that was thanks to Osage Tosin Bucknor. So Tosin Bucknor, rest in peace, I met through radio. And she was like, oh yeah, come for this event, One Mark Nigeria, you meet people. And I started building my network from there. Tosin introduced me to Osage. Basically, that's how I started out. So I started getting like small change here and there. I tried to apply to a couple of law firms. It was hard finding a law firm that was focused on entertainment law. I was also under the mentorship of Udok. She's the founder of AfricanMusicLaw.com. I call her the mother of entertainment law in Africa, right? Because a lot of us used all our writings to learn about the industry. At a point, I was just like, I might just have to do this myself and chart this territory myself. Just slowly, surely building. Then I was approached by a guy that says, look, I think we're gonna be good together in terms of forming a partnership. I wasn't convinced. There's no incentive to do this. Why am I gonna do this? It makes no sense to do this. But pretty convinced, and we started out a law firm. So I started out the law firm with two people called Technological Partners. And the singular focus was just to create a boutique law firm. So it was, from the onset, it was a boutique law firm focused on entertainment law. Of course, starting out, everybody thought we were crazy. Started the company with 25,000 naira in cash. Did the websites in exchange of favors. Oh, yo, we're gonna give you one free legal review, snap our picture. Oh, yo, you have an office. All right, let's come and take a picture in the office. Ola Naresh took the pictures. Dami Ajala styled me. And then we just gathered all our friends and put them that we've ever worked with and put them on the website like clients. But when it came out, everybody was like, oh my God, so dope. So I was like, okay. If you knew the background to this, so there was an illusion created, like some rich kids were in town. I was like, I don't think that's the illusion we wanted to create, because we're broke and hungry. So started that in 2015. Now you're entering into an industry where there's no ready business. So you have to create your own business so that you can get paid. Because the people you're coming to meet are like, look, we get it that we need you, but we can't afford you. So even if you're doing 100K or 50K or whatever, they still can't afford you. The industry wasn't as buoyant as it is right now. Struggled. A few successes here and there. Met SARS, who founded the SARS Academy project with the law firm and SARS. That was an interesting turn because that now led into us understanding the position of publishing. That's how I veered and focused. So in the middle of my focus, I focus again, right? So I just went into the publishing angle and started like really owning my skills there. Osage also, once again, called me one day and was like, so do you know about public performance royalties? I was like, no. And she's like, go and read about it. I don't know where she went to, who she heard it from, and that's one of the things that just changed my life. So this grind was tough. I remember we were living in Aja. Actually, no, if you know Lakwe, the bus stop before Lakwe. I don't know that, but that's where, and your business was in Ikeja. So yeah, that was the kind of commute. There are days where you're coming back and I'll call my mom and say, bro, there's no money in my account, there's no food. Can I come and collect food from the house? It was hellish. I had this big brother of mine that said, look, I can't pay you, but I can give you a house in Lekki and I can give you internet. I said, say no more. That's the only thing I need, right? And I was sleeping on the floor. So between 12 and 5, when everybody is sleeping, I would be awake. Between 2015 and 2018, I'd done so much research work, so much applying myself, so much experimenting, so much just like doing the grunt work. And I learned from that experience licensing, because then VAS, it's called value added service. So when you call the ringtone, you hear music. So I was in the thick of it then, going to go and sign licensing deals, getting clients to sign to the network, monitoring the account. So that was my playground for like 2 years. They just said, oh, you're a lawyer, do this. And no shade to you, bro, but I wasn't paid for 1 year of work. Yeah. Would I advise you to do it now? I don't advise people, whatever you think is good for you. But for me, at that moment, I'm like, I know that I would never have any opportunity to get a house in Lekki. So why not just use this now and get what I need to get? And that was that hustle. So between 2015 and 2018, yeah, that was what I was doing. First big brief I got, Osage was like, oh yeah, you need to meet this person. He needs a lawyer handle. And that brief paid 1 million naira. That was in 2019. 2018 or 2019, one of them. And I was just like, now I've arrived. Remember, my first brief was 200K in 2015, where someone said draft an agreement. And in 2018 was when the law firm was getting its first big brief. Right? The turning point started from that brief. People started to recognize and like, okay, these people are doing something interesting. And then we started a lot of advocacy work, pushing for publishing to change in the music industry. Interesting things, right? Everybody's like, oh yeah, you need, as a lawyer, you need an office and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, we need an office. The rules of professional conduct says we need an office. Does your account tell you that you need an office, right? First office was a shared office, TPX Orb. It was being run by Coin Doughty. It was 16 Alfredolaya Ikeja. So we had the decks. Keke would drop me at Allen Junction, Okwabi Junction, and walk to the office, down the hill, enter, So that was an interesting phase. Did that for about a year or two, and we now moved to our first own office space. That was in Magodo. I was so proud of it. I was incredibly proud of it. I was fantabulously proud of it. I went to Ikorodu to shop all the second-hand chairs that was in the office. Then we had what I thought was going to be the biggest brief of our lives. Invited one of the major three companies. Like, oh yeah, you guys have not coming to Nigeria, come, let's introduce you into Nigeria and everything. Did a whole proposal and everything. So they were like, okay, sure, we're coming to Nigeria. And they're like, yeah, we're coming to your office. I was like, damn. So imagine, this is my baby office, beautiful space, freshened it up, scrubbed the terrazzo floor, cleaned everywhere, sprayed offices, bought sweets, bought chocolate, bought everything to entertain the guests. And 6 of them came, interesting conversation, killed the conversation. They were like, smart set of individuals. First month, no response. Second month, no response. Third month, no response. 4th month, no response. Until I now met one of them another time somewhere. I'm like, come on guys, like, no response and everything. And the person told them, I was like, man, you guys are smart. But man, your office, man, it just looked like if we gave you the money, you just... I was like, so I'm one of those people that I don't believe in aesthetics. I just want to do my work, chill with my friends, call it a good time. Now then was when I learned about showing up and keeping appearances. I remember that Osage, I love Osage by the way. I went to our office one day, with a bike, with my cross bag, like this, teaching, papa, I've gotten there, okay, what do you want? Type, everything's done. Osage looked at me when they said, Foza, I think it's time you got a car. I said, I don't afford it. Because she's like, you can't be showing up to clients' places on bikes. Then she comes back and is like, okay, I found a brief for you, take this client, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, cool. Took the client, a big brief also, right? And as they were paying me, she's like, okay, I found a car for you. You can pay 3 times. I'm like, I said, no, you're gonna get that car. And that's how I got my first car. It was an old car that Osage was using and our office was using, and she wanted to sell it off. And she was like, Foza is gonna buy it and she can pay, give me whatever payment plan, but you have to have a car. That's how I got my Toyota Corolla. So COVID forced everybody to stop, and I stopped and started reevaluating a lot of things. We came back from COVID, all the projection that we made, all the businesses we thought was going to come in wasn't coming in anymore because everybody is just trying to survive and recover from COVID. So we had to start re-strategizing, looking at things. Then I began to see like the places that needed fixing in my life, personally. I'd done so much work, I'd forgotten that I had to keep reinventing myself and pouring into myself. So by 2020, I was maxed out. I was burnt out. I'd given everything I knew to this hustle, to this business. Couldn't explain it to anybody that I was burnt out and I was tired. I just knew that 3 days out of a week, I'm working. The other 2 days, I'm angry with life. I just want to sleep, right? I didn't know that was depression. So it was high-functioning depression, right? I just knew that people's lives were in my hands. I had to pay salaries. I had to make sure that everybody was properly sorted at the detriment of myself, right? One day I woke up and I'm like, why not try going for an MBA course? I wanted to take the exam and I was scared. It was then I realized that, oh my God, I ran away for almost 6-7 years because I was scared of taking exams because I had a pass from law school. And I said, okay, let me write IELTS or whatever the English thing. I didn't need it for anything. I was about to write English tests. I was scared. I said, there's a problem. Because I was so ashamed of that failure, I ran away from anything that could test me. Of course, I passed the exam, right? And I was just like, so what are you afraid of? Then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do my MBA. And I started learning. I was just like, damn, all these things I was doing, just learning on the road of entrepreneurship. So doing that, my MBA, just put it in words. So I was like, okay, so what I was doing was data validation. This type of style of leadership, this style of this, this style of that, passed with flying colors, by the way. And I was like, yeah, I'm back, bitches. And then I started thinking, I'm like, maybe I should take a PhD. But what that failure taught me was humility. That's what kept me grounded for that 6 years to learn. I'd come out with a 2-1. can't talk to me. There's nothing you wanted to say to me, right? But now I came out what do you have to say? All right, I'll take that into consideration, right? So that's what it did for me. But the other side that I didn't take note of was now the imposter syndrome, the fear of being on my own, thinking I wasn't good enough. I'm already top of my career. I've done 7 years. I was being referred to as thought leader, winning awards. Then, I love the awards, by the way. I'm speaking everywhere, but I go back home every night empty. Now, other people will be like, there's no work, bad life, blah, blah, blah. I believed in that thing. Work till you die. Actually, 3 times I've almost died. First time was I had a ruptured appendicitis. I just kept walking. I was like, nah, this is just a mixed mark. Until I literally passed out. And I woke up and I saw that they've operated. I had a huge scar here because you had a ruptured appendicitis. Second one was a client wanted to meet in the middle of the night. I took a bike, woke up the next morning in the hospital, hearing you need to go for a CT scan, it's 600K. I'm like, well, is it that I die here? Because there's no 600K to do CT scan. So a lot of things that happened, COVID that happened, NSAS that happened. Now the year ended with I had an accident and I started having PTSD. And I now got to a realization that why are you doing everything yourself when you have the resources to delegate? Epiphany number 3, 4, delegation. I've learned structure. I've learned process. Unfortunately, 2022, the company I started with, we went our separate ways. Maybe when I'm 40, I'll talk about it. But went our separate ways. And 2023 ended with me jobless, not knowing where I wanted to go to. Did a few interviews with different companies. They said I was overqualified. They said I've always been an entrepreneur. They didn't feel like I would fit into an employment system. Nobody talks about that also. And I have a couple of people that are going through that problem. Mind you, now I'm almost at par with my mentors. Where they are now, can see what they see now. I can have conversations with them. And now I'm telling them, I'm like, mentor, this is what's going on. Like, oh yeah, baby, we're going through it too. And these are not problems that regular people understand. Problems like a high-functioning depressed person, you're constantly anxious. Nobody talks about that. The business books don't tell you that. When you try to express it, especially as a woman, you're emotional. So September 2023, I went to Mexico. Mind you, this is the first time I'm taking vacation. So all through 2023, I'm traveling because a huge part of my heart was ripped out. So I had to find healing. I had to understand what was wrong with me. So I was doing a lot of therapy. So I went to Mexico with a special person. This was the tail end of the trip. Oh, let's go out. Can't wait, let's go out. So we go to, they called it the Mystical Spiritual Museum. I'm like, whatever, man. Mind you, this time I'm also struggling spiritually. So you walk in and you see pictures. But the interesting thing about this picture is it tells stories. My favorite story was a story of a stallion, strong on the outside, had everything going, but then he was forced to go into the water. He's swimming, and he gets to the very deep end. So he's struggling, you can see he's struggling. He goes in black. Somehow, through sheer strength, he finds his way back to the surface, and he's coming back as a white Pegasus. And he's telling these through pictures, by the way. Bro, I finished that, I cried. I'm sure the Chinese guy that was the guide was just looking at me like, is this black lady okay? Because I sat down in the middle of the museum and I was just bawling. It was such a beautiful experience. And that's where I found my healing. It was there that I understood that my failures and mistakes were okay. I shouldn't be persecuted for that. And these failures came from being an entrepreneur, by the way. At the point I saw myself, comparing myself to other people that had like a different edge and start. But I was too wrapped up in my own conceited mind to see what I'd achieved and what my path was. So all those cumulated was then plus the split, everything was just like a lot. I came out of that experience, I was like, all right, bro, I'm built for this. I'm built to chart the uncharted territory. That's what I'm called to do. I'm not called to be regular. I'm not called to do things the same way, right? So, but now I've learned that I have to take care of myself. And it's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to be mentally down and take a break. You know, it's okay to fail.
I'm already there, I'm already there. It's just in my mind, but for now that is fine. 'Cause I'm already there, I'm already there. It may take some time, but we'll leave this behind.
So then I was like, okay, let's just go back and let's see. Still not very sure. Before I'll have been so stressed out. Oh, I'm not sure on everything. And then when people come to me, I'm like, yeah, I'm still taking my time to figure things out. I wasn't ashamed to tell people that I want to figure out where I want to play. Because at this point now, it's not the uncharted territory. We've grown. I've been part of people that have laid, I mean, people before me did that. We had the Ethereal Zakos that had done work in entertainment law. They laid that foundation. You know, Sandra Oyewole, and we kind of took over from them, young, fresh, ran that course for almost like 8 years. Now there's a new set of people. I also needed to understand the fact that my position had changed in the industry. And I had to understand what my new position was. I'm no longer a hustling young lawyer. I'm now an authority and a thought leader. Part of what the break did for me was helping me to understand that even though you're starting new again, you need to understand the position where you play, right? And that's why I came into this year saying, okay, I'm just gonna coast it. By mid-year, all the work I'd done in 10 years, I'd done it by August.
I'm already there. It's just in my mind, but for now, that is fine. 'Cause I'm already there.
I'm very focused on building institutions that leads to impact. I didn't have the privilege of going to a big university because I was broke. On the continent, there's nowhere for you to study entertainment law. So we're working on that to set up accessible and affordable academies for lawyers that want to go through entertainment law. For women, I'm very passionate about women. If I didn't have my mentors like Osage telling me that, look, we're also going through this thing. It's not peculiar to you, but you can find strength in this sisterhood, I probably would have killed myself. So for me, it's to use the platform called Our Creative Journey to speak to different levels of women, the ones that are entering and the ones that are up there. Because I mentioned to you that nobody teaches those of us that have gotten up there how to transition, how to manage the power, how to manage the success, how to manage the different type of sexism you meet up there, or the politics that you meet up there. When you're entering, you're facing a different set of problems. When you're up there, you're facing a different set of problems. So Our Creative Journey platform is to speak to those two dynamics. And finally, Zeta Oracle. So this is me announcing that I am the founder of Zeta Oracle Limited. It's a full legal and business consultancy outfit based in Lagos. It's operations in Ghana also. And it's interesting, we take care of you like our baby. One of my biggest goals, or one of the things that is forefront for me, is creating sustainable wealth. So it's not just a one-time thing, it's to help you go through the process of wealth and elevating it times 10, times 20. So at 40, my goal is to have like 5,000 lawyers pass through the academy. I personally feel that the missing piece of the creative industry in Africa are the lawyers. So yeah, I'm excited about the future. It's more calculated, it's more impact driven, it's more mental stability. Right now I feel like there's nothing you want to throw at me. I'm mentally strong to go through it. So I've passed the survivor entrepreneurship that Nigeria teaches you. I'm now in the Western entrepreneurship, which is innovation. So I'll see you guys when I'm 40. I think that's in 20, I don't know maths. You see, this is why I have an accountant. But yeah, My name is Foza Fawehinmi. I'm a creative economy lawyer and industrialist. And if I do say so myself, one of the finest on the continent. And it's been an experience talking to you about a decade of my journey. And this is 10 years a lawyer. Thank you very much.
Already there.